For the second straight day, the Cowboys see some physicality on the practice field. Here's how the quarterbacks are faring in a wide receiver battle from a former quarterback and wide receiver right here on Training Camp Live, presented by American Airlines. Welcome into a brand new edition of Training Camp Live, presented by American Airlines for the first time, alongside Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Youmans, and Isaiah, you just got to practice.
Yeah.
It's back in Oxnard. Things have changed a little bit since the last time you were here.
Yeah, it's a lot different, man. Obviously, the weather's still amazing, right? But in terms of how things are laid out, man, the fans are still awesome, man. This is a great environment to be in.
And it's a great environment to give you an inside look at how practice is going. We've just gotten into team drills. These are the first couple snaps we've seen of the first team. Dak Prescott behind center. He's back in the shotgun. You've got that first team defense out there as well. So we're going to get a really good look at this Cowboys team. Second day of padded practices. And they go with a little play action. Now Dak rolling out to his right. Off balance throw. And it's out of bounds.
Yeah, Dak's been doing a good job of throwing on the move today from what we've seen so far at practice. He's had some really accurate throws right there in the individual drills. They had an early red zone drill. He was able to get Schultz a little touchdown early on, so that was good to see as well.
Now, you're a former NFL quarterback, former collegiate quarterback as well. How big are practices like this to where you do have a little bit of a chance to get mobile and get out of the pocket and then throw a little bit off balance, so that way when you get into the game, things are just second nature? No,
you're absolutely correct. It's really important as far as these guys in the second day of pass, especially not only for the quarterbacks being able to have your full range of motion throwing the ball, but knowing that your receivers have the range, the actual catch radius, right? Those things really matter when you start putting pads on, putting shirts on top of that. Guys are grabbing at you, releases, all those things in terms of your timing. It's really important for the quarterback position.
Is it big for the offensive linemen, too, of knowing not only getting to the second level, but knowing how long to hold their blocks on the other side?
Yeah, this is real. This is when it gets real for the offensive defensive line in the trenches. All the stuff with just jerseys on, that's the soft stuff. This is the real. This is when you recognize who can actually make a block, what's actually a pass defense, and all those kind of things, man. These guys get to get after it a little bit.
Cooper Rush in at quarterback, and they hand it off to Rico Dowdle straight up the gut. That was a second-team offense, including the offensive line. Tyler Smith getting second-team reps in that moment. Matt Farniok was the center. Cooper Rush at quarterback. A couple things to keep in mind, especially because Will Greer has also been mixing in with Cooper Rush. Connor McGovern's been mixing in with Tyler Smith. So lots of different notes to be taking in terms of snap counts and reps for these guys as we head into this second snap. A couple guys on defense. Luke Gifford, Israel Mukwamu out there as well. Nashon Wright in the secondary. A little play action. Rush with plenty of time to throw.
Good grab.
Delivers it to Simi Fehoko over the middle of the field. He was covered by Kelvin Joseph.
Yeah, no, he did a great job of showing patience in the pocket. He moved a little bit to buy himself some time. Simi Fehoko ran a good route, coming in on the in route, stayed flat, and was able to make a great grab across the middle.
Looks like Simi Fehoko just getting more and more comfortable as his camp continues to go along, and that's big because of the injury to James Washington, who's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks due to a Jones fracture in his foot that he suffered yesterday. So these wide receivers, you need some guys to step up. A couple of them are on the field at the moment. TJ Vasher back there as well. It's a handoff.
Ooh, they covered that thing.
Nowhere going. Great job by the defense and wrapping that thing up. That was Sam Williams that got in there.
Yeah, and this is great to see these guys go out there, fly around with the pads on. Like I said, for the defensive line especially and linebackers, these guys get to be physical. So now you're starting to see what is actually a block and what plays they're actually be able to make.
First team on their way back out there. Connor McGovern at left guard. Entire offensive line out there. Terrence Steele at right tackle. Martin at right guard, Tyler Biotish at center, and then Tyron Smith.
Got Big Ridgeway in the middle there, too.
Yes, he does. Micah Parsons, Sam Williams still out on the field. Ridgeway plugging the gap, but it's Dak Prescott with a 3-step drop. Delivers on the money, far sideline. Dennis Houston reeling it in with the toe tap grab.
And the fact that Dennis Houston is in there with the QB1, it says a lot about where he's at right now in camp, and they're trusting him. So that's a really great play by him.
Goes back to that conversation of a young wide receiver in need of somebody to step up. Dennis Houston's really been in that conversation throughout camp so far and has already built a ton of trust with Dak Prescott in the fold. Here's Dalton Schultz. It's a little too tight end set. Two receivers to the far side as well for Prescott.
Man.
You're going to run it straight up the middle to Zeke, and that was Tristan Hill that got in. clacking the pads of Ezekiel Elliott. A great job by Hill. Lost his blocker against the first-team offensive line.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Hill, man. I know he's been an exciting player for us here in the past few years. Obviously dealt with some injuries, but coming back off it, he's in a very crowded defensive line room, so he's going to have to make a lot more plays like that to show up.
Lots of names in rotation. I mean, two of which, Hill, Ridgeway, that aren't normally with your first-team defense, but they're out there as well. Luke Gifford in at linebacker, so is Micah Parsons. At safety, you've got Jaron Kearse. Hand off to the far side. Nowhere to go again.
Man, Big Sam Williams is coming off that edge. I know a lot of times when people think about the defensive end position and their ability to rush the passer, but their ability to run things down from the backside on the run plays is huge as well, and we just saw it right there.
So it looked like 3 of the last 4 run plays that we've had have been a no gain or just a minuscule gain for the offense. And is that more of a positive thing for the defense in the way that they've been able to stack up, or is that maybe a concern for the offensive line?
I think the defensive coordinator, has definitely addressed their needs in the interior defensive line. I mean, you see we have Tristan Hill and Ridgeway in there as a combination. Both of those guys have the capabilities to clog up 2 men at a time, so that frees up everybody else.
There's a little Big 12 to Big 12. Will Greer over to Brandon Smith. Will Greer went to West Virginia, Smith to Texas, so a couple of guys familiar with each other.
We got some of the young bucks in there now.
Offensive line including Josh Ball, Tyler Smith, Matt Farniok, all on the left side. Rico Dowdle in at running back, and then Smith and Ty Freifogel to the near side of your screen. They give it right to Dowdle again, stacked up. That defensive line continuing to wreak havoc.
Yeah, these guys are just getting a great push up front. Obviously, this is a little bit further down on the depth chart, but the same thing stays the same. These guys are getting a push on the offensive line.
Marcavius Bryant out there. Christian Sam, a recent signing at linebacker, was plugging a hole. Lots to be excited about with this defense, returning nearly every impact player from 2021, and then, of course, adding a couple of names through the draft, like a Sam Williams, into the fold as well. Let's go back to Greer. Under center. Back to the ground. And no gain, trying to push the pile.
These guys are doing a great job, man, of rushing to the ball.
So now we're moving into first, second, and third down. This is going to be a more accurate team look, Isaiah. Explain what exactly we're going to see, just because this is where you get to work the ball down the field a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're starting to simulate now, post kickoff return, right? So these guys are now getting the ball at 20, 25-yard line. These guys are able to work the ball down the field and see exactly, are we going to run the ball first? Are we going to try to establish a run and cut down on our down and distance? Or are they going to try to take some early shots? So you're going to really see exactly what their game plan is in terms of how they address that situation.
We've seen a lot of situational work throughout the first 6 practices now. Is this one of those things that's a little bit more scripted than others, since it is pretty much right out of what is supposed to be a kickoff return?
I feel like it is. I feel like the coaches coming into the second day of padded practice, they want to have an understanding of where we're at on the field. What do these guys look like on these particular down and distances? I think as you get a little bit further down the road in camp, you'll start seeing them, kind of go off the chart a little bit.
Another thing to note: Dennis Houston out there against Trayvon Diggs on the outside. C.D. Lamb's in the inside going up against Jordan Lewis. They give it to Zeke.
Nice.
Zeke with a nice move.
Nice.
Right at the line of scrimmage. That would have been a decent gain on first down.
Yeah, and one of the things that nobody's really going to pay attention to is the blocking down the field by the receiver. C.D. Lamb did a great job of walling it off and creating a lane for C.D. to really run off of.
So that was first down. Now moving into second down. They'll call that a gain of right around 6. Kind of tough to see from this angle. May have been more than that, but of course, they want to get the work in. Now it's CD against Trayvon Diggs.
Sure.
That might be something to ISO on the right side of the formation. Now they just flipped it. Dak's going to keep it after the play action, rolls out, and then throws it into the ground. He was aiming for either Lamb or Dennis Houston, both of which were pretty nicely covered.
Yeah, what they were trying to do on offense was try to create a little bit of an unequal balance in terms of where their alignments were. They started off with a 3-by-1 set to the right side. They made the shift, brought both tight ends over to the left side, and then ran bootleg back to the short side of the field. So they're trying to create a little bit of a leverage advantage there. It didn't work to their favor.
Let's go ahead and ISO to the near side, Alex. We've got Trayvon Diggs versus T.J. Vasher. Vasher in the 16. He's had an up-and-down camp so far. Still the catch of the camp. Oh, and it ended up being a run play. Sorry, everybody. Going the opposite direction, Tony Pollard with a little bit of speed.
TP, and that's what everybody in the world has been talking about in the NFL. What is his contribution going to be this year? And you saw it right there. That burst is still carried over from last year, and a lot of people have big hopes for him this year.
Do you think there's a way that you could use him in the wide receiver rotation without James Washington in the fold now?
I think there is. There's definitely a way to do it. I don't think that you want to overexpose him in that regard. And that's when you start seeing guys play out of their roles, out of their position. That's when injuries start presenting themselves. Allow for him to do the things that he does well within your scheme.
Pass out wide to Zeke. He had to spin to make the grab. Did just that, but Trayvon Diggs would have been there quickly to make that a minimal gain.
Yeah, you like to see a little bit more accurate pass, especially when you're throwing the ball to your running backs along the sideline. So you don't, number one, so you don't get a tip ball. Number two, so you don't get your guy blown up.
Is that any tougher, kind of throwing in the flats like that a little bit, just mechanically for a quarterback?
It is, because it's a quick throw. So a lot of times you have the defensive line getting their hands up, but as a quarterback, you still got to set your feet. And if you're going to err, you want to err towards the sideline, not inside.
It's almost like a pitcher going into a pickoff move. It's a little bit different than their normal arm motion, so sometimes get a little bit skewed.
You got to channel your inner Brett Favre.
There you go. Ooh! Lots of contact. Going to the ground was Dowdle. Said that was Gifford that got in there quickly.
Gifford, he gave him a little extra, too. Threw him to the ground.
A little bit.
A little DDT action there.
Just getting back into the groove. There have been a lot of coaches, a lot of personnel excited about what Rico Dowdle can bring to the table. Might have been a little shaken up. He was kind of rotating the shoulder, but he looks to be all right. Kept the helmet on. Connor McGovern now rolling with the second-team offensive line.
We got the big guys in the backfield now.
Couple big guys back there.
Farniok back there, lined up at fullback.
Laying down a block. That one thrown. Joseph almost had a pick. Good coverage, and Vasher could not keep it up off the turf. They called it an incomplete pass, but there you see a little bit of the battle that continues throughout camp.
Yeah, and we saw a little flag come out as well. Looks like we have illegal hands on the defensive side of the ball, so all that goes away anyways. But that was great coverage by Joseph. You'd like to see him try to come up with that pick, but ultimately he did his job. It was no complete.
That's one of those battles that has gone back to the unpadded days and even back into the spring a little bit, OTAs and minicamp, between Vasher and Kelvin Joseph. Two young guys trying to improve their spot on the depth chart.
Nice cut.
Little flip of the field here. And pushed out of bounds. Malik Davis on the run attempt that time. Don't see any Aaron Shamplin as he's out today.
It's getting a little chippy out here.
A little bit, a little more physicality rolling. We'll give you a couple more plays with the first team coming up here in a little bit. Dak Prescott looks like he's itching to get back in the fold.
Yeah, he wants those reps.
He's talking with Dan Quinn. He's talking with the ref.
Okay, looks like we got let's see, you got Basham in there at D-line. You got Tristan Hill.
Dante Fowler Jr. on the opposite side. Neville Gallimore on the interior. Corners are Deron Bland, Kelvin Joseph.
Oh, you got him.
Free play. Cooper Rush going to let it fly down the sideline. That was looking for Ryan Null. Covered by Malik Jefferson, another signing from a couple weeks ago.
Throwing it to the fullback 20 yards down the field, huh?
Hey, it's a free play. You can do some fun things down the field. How many times have you done that in your career?
Yeah, I can't say that I've done that.
You don't think you've done it ever?
No. But being that it's a free play, we'll give him a mulligan.
Maybe that's the versatility of Ryan Null. Who knows?
You just never know.
Could be something going on there.
Never knew.
He's a receiver. He's a receiving fullback.
Empty.
You're exactly right. Going empty, and then you've got Cooper Rush back of the shotgun. Quick drop. Tristan Hill got in there again. Rush able to get away. Throws it down for Smith, who elevates over Nashawn Wright for the grab.
Hey, that was a heck of a job by quarterback. Great, just getting out the pocket, buying some time, and then giving his receiver an opportunity to make a play. Great job, Rush.
Smith went up to get it. What a play. We've got two more for you here on Training Camp Live, and they're both going to be first-team reps. Tyler Smith now getting a couple opportunities at left guard in between Biotish and Tyron Smith. Zeke in the backfield. Couple tight ends in the formation again. They're going to go with the straight handoff.
Nice.
Good blocking up front. There was a huge hole there, but Leighton Vander Esch plugged it pretty quickly.
Yeah, no, Vander Esch did a great job scraping across the top. It was a lane, as you mentioned, but Vander Esch using them long, lanky arms, man, to be able to just create some distance and then shoot the gap when needed.
Let's see if we can't get a pass here to close things out. Something big outside of the Smith grab that we saw just a couple moments ago.
They have to do it against Brown and Diggs out there.
They have been shut down here in camp so far. Anthony Brown with a career year last season. He has followed that up. Now it's Dennis Houston, CeeDee Lamb are the two wide receivers in the formation. Tony Pollard straight back. They're going to go to Pollard. That might be designed.
Nice.
And, man, there's some speed from Tony Pollard exploding through the hole. Looks like Carlos Watkins a little banged up on the play, but he'll stay in there.
A little shaken up. But, again, TP, you just see it flash. You can hear the crowd. As soon as he gets the ball in his hands, you hear the, ooh. Everybody starts making the big gas because he is just he's quick, man.
He puts that first step forward. It's really entertaining to watch. Let's see if we can get one more here. Sticking with the first team. Now it's Tolbert, Lamb, and Vasher as the wide receivers. McCune and Turpin are on the far side. Going back to the empty backfield. Dak looking to his left, has to spin out. Tristan Hill causing trouble again. Off-balance throw. Dak had Lamb, but he missed him. Lamb found his way open over the middle of the field, but just no chance on the grab.
Yeah, no, and the defensive line didn't give him opportunity to get that ball off with any hopes of a completion. A great job by the defensive front.
It looks like the first team's going to stay back out there with a couple of new guys. See if we can get one more. I just like giving bonus plays for the fans, Isaiah.
Yeah, I see you, man. You got Josh Ball out there at left tackle with QB1 in practice.
Yeah, flipping with Tyron Smith. Trying to fight for that swing tackle job. If he's going to win it, he's going to have to play against Tyler Smith or with Tyler Smith.
Yeah, Diggs versus Fehoko. Nope.
Dak again. Zeke never looked up. Didn't see him. You saw something from Fehoko there?
Yeah, Fehoko had a step on Diggs. Now, obviously, we didn't get the opportunity to see what would have been the result of that. But nonetheless, he had a step on him.
All right, let's wrap things up here on Training Camp Live, presented by American Airlines. Again, Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Youmans. Hope you enjoyed a look inside practice. Padded again. Great weather. It's a fantastic day to get some work in. What'd you see?
Yeah, I mean, I see he's highly competitive. I mean, the pads are on. You're starting to see the defensive fronts be able to get a little bit of push. You want to see the O-line create a little bit more gaps, but they did a pretty good job against the run scheme.
There you go. So for Alex Lilly behind the camera, Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Youmans. We'll see you tomorrow with more Training Camp Live.